Okay. I'm probably gonna film a video soon. I didn't even check if the frame's good. It's closer. But I just took like probably a combined like 45-minute walk. It was definitely longer. I walked like a 15-minute walk to get an iced Americano, walked back. Then as I was passing my street, I was like, could go for a sandwich. Took like a 20-minute walk out to the sandwich shop. Got it now. I hate how they wrap this shit. It's like a body bag. But yeah, figured I should just eat this first, take a second to cool down, and then we'll film something. But a glimpse into my twisted sicko life. I just love a long walk. It resets. There's something about it that just resets you. But it's starting to get hot, and I don't know if it's old-fashioned Puritan kind of body anxiety or it's dysphoria, but like you wouldn't catch me dead wearing shorts unless it's an absolute necessity. Almost dropped the whole thing. There you go. So I was wearing like full jeans for this walk. And I'm sweating like a pig. And pigs don't sweat. I know that's like somebody was jumping to comment that. Like pigs look like they sweat. And people say they sweat. So you understand the poetic license I was using there. I'm gonna take a bite of this. Then I'm gonna eat it without you people watching. And then I will do a review. Or I don't even know what I'm doing. Don't know why I thought I could do this without a plate. It is a mess. It is untenable. And I have, oh my God, there's olive. Sorry, but like, wow. In the frame, that's really impressive. I have like some kind of problem with ordering too. When I go up to that counter, I have all kinds of like pre-prepared things I'm gonna order, and then they all just fly out of my head, and I just order like whatever thing I like to say. So like I ordered an Italian, no alterations, no anything. It's like, could I have an Italian sub? And they're like, just as it is? I don't even know what's on it. I was like, yeah, works for me. I wanted a chopped cheese. I had like, when I was going there, I planned a chopped cheese. So whatever. Let's do one bite. Okay, so it is delicious. It's really good. I just don't like olives, but I'm trying to grow into it. I was a picky eater growing up, and now like the only foods that are left are like the ones that I thought were gross when I was little. I could eat like a squid, fine, because it's like new and exciting. But if you just give me like a slice of like sun-dried tomato, I have to silence a very loud vocal part of my subconscious. I did have a great walk, I should say. It was extra long, but it made me think there is a psychological toll to birds being your favorite animal because they will always fly away from you. It's rare to get a bird that like really graces you with their presence and will stick around as you walk close. So like you just feel like you're scaring off all the people around you. You feel like a big like lumbering giant. People whose like favorite animals are like domesticated and love humans, they don't know how good they have it. When you love the thing that runs away, it's, you know, that's when you have to quell your intense existential state with a big ol' bite of a sandwich. There's a lot of mayo on this, but can I be honest? That's what I like. Mayo is so good. People really slander mayo because it's like gross looking and like probably not good for you. But if you put it on a sandwich, I'm always gonna be happy it's there. I'm not gonna act, I'm not gonna act on like how I am. This shot, I tested it beforehand, makes me look like a giant. I promise you, I'm like 5'8", but I think just because my TV's set so low, this makes me look like I'm lumbering. We're here to talk about Roku Backdrops for all of my Roku havers out here. I had like a very obsessive moment with it about a month ago, and found nothing on the internet talking about the pros and cons of this feature. I really like it, but it has some glaring flaws, especially for people who really appreciate art like me and probably you. Why is nobody talking about this? Let me give you a description of what it is. Basically, it's a photo slideshow feature on your TV, and they have a built-in library of lots and lots of images. Now, 70% Perhaps 75% of these images are for psychos only and are completely unusable. A lot of them are real life, like nature photography, which is kind of beautiful but definitely generic. If you put it up in your house, it doesn't really give much of your like individual personality, which I think for decoration in your house, that's like the number one thing. You want to have individuality. Some of them are actually so confusing. If you have this feature, look up insects. They have 100 pictures of like close up microscopic shots of like the faces of insects. And like we're talking not even, well, I guess they're beautiful in a certain way, but not traditionally beautiful insects, like literally flies, up close grasshoppers, like spindles, weird little teeth things. Why would you want that as a background in your house? So most of them are completely unusable. In fact, I feel like the only stuff that's actually valid to use is the art gallery. There's definitely a very heavy focus on impressionism because I think people just like that as background in their house, like just like landscape, pretty colors, decoration. That's the majority, but there's also like a pretty surprising amount of Renaissance and medieval artwork that you really wouldn't expect to see in this library. So I really appreciated kind of its eccentricity. And it made me remember a lot of the things that I like about art that you don't really get out of a museum. Downsides of a museum typically, uh the context. A lot of art historically is really made to be hung in a house and made to be pieces that you live with over time, like sustained periods of time. And when you go to a museum, you can only really spend like at most 3 minutes with a piece of art. And then like the people you're with will probably just keep walking past. Most of the time, you're not going to spend more than like 20 seconds looking at a piece of art. Like if you time it out, that's about right. You give things a cursory look and you move past it because there's a lot to see in the day. And it's not your space, which is okay, but museums are often very neutral spaces on purpose. So you just see like the art as an object in itself. And it's put in dialogue with other works, but it's not often put in dialogue with like the architecture or with like the decorative art of the room. Um, but when you put things in a house, you see them every day and you see them at different stages in your life. You see them in different decorative schemes, and you can arrange it with whatever other works of art that you might want to put into dialogue with it. So, to do this casually and with famous works of art without having to buy a print and put in this kind of like viewing seat of honor in the house that is the TV, unfortunately, it's a really great advantage to this Roku Backdrops feature. The other nice thing is that since you're picking out all these photos, you can really curate like a playlist, you know? And I'm really grateful also that there's no panning or zooming on these images. A lot of like photo slideshow carousels, they have like a left to right sweep or like a zoom in on a detail or like just an automatic kind of transition. These are just flat, straight up the picture. And you can pick how much time that you have each photo up for, which is like anywhere from 30 seconds to like 10 minutes. And I think it's nice to have that fixed duration on a slideshow too, because like I said, in a museum, you only see something for like 30 seconds, but I have it set right now to 3 minutes. And that kind of almost forces you to engage with the art longer than you might otherwise have. Like you might just take like a quick glance at it and keep rolling. But if it's on there for 3 minutes, you look away, look at your phone, blah, 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 it's still there. Now, I said there's no pans or anything, but there is a crop. I think another reason that they really have a lot of impressionist art in here is that a lot of it's naturally landscape cropped. So it fits very cleanly into this television screen. But there's a lot of really weird cropping that has to be done. Like just weird detail shots if the piece is really, really vertical. Like there's this one Caravaggio piece I'm speaking about specifically when I'm thinking of this, and I don't know if it's gonna be in the shot. What are we looking at right now? But I'll put in a picture of it because it misses out so much of the action because it just crops right to the middle. And it ends up making some really weird kind of arrangement choices for their pieces because of that crop. Okay, as I was editing, I realized I had to say way more about that piece. Because that Caravaggio it's of Narcissus, as you probably already imagined. And like, by choosing to crop out the reflection in a piece about Narcissus, you're missing out on like literally the whole thematic point of the mythology. Like, the reflection is more than half of the story. And by doing a picture that's just of him looking down, you're just actually changing the message of the painting, which is really funny. Like, you don't see what the subject is seeing. Like, honestly, the focal point of the image is the reflection more so than it is the boy himself. So it's a really funny like interpretive choice. Like, it's not just picking a detail, it's changing the story. It's a very, very big library. The biggest insane feature here is that in order to pick out your own images, you have to add them to your favorites folder and then rotate through that. You can go to bigger photo libraries and just like shuffle them if you'd like. But they cap your favorites folder. You know, if you do want to curate your kind of own playlist of images, they cap it at 100. And they have thousands of images of art in here. To cap it at 100 is it's so low that it pains me. And let me tell you, I was having such like a moment with this feature. I was really enjoying like arranging my own art. I was ready to have like a nice big, in the same way that I do with my driving playlist. I have a driving playlist that's like 3,000 songs. I've worked on it for years and years, and I was ready to enter a similar experience. When I hit that 100 wall, it was absolutely devastating. I felt like this like potential beautiful future had been snatched from me. And I don't think that there's like a technical reason that you'd have to cap it. Like, I have no clue why you'd cap the feature. I'm not a programmer or anything, but I've tried to look at this in like a glass half full way. I was devastated, but it meant that we have to be really discerning with what pictures we select, you know? You have to be like, is this worth taking out one of the 100? Does it fit into the vibes we want to put off in our house? And I'm doing this with my girlfriend. So I picked out 100 that I particularly liked, and then as a night like fun activity, we went through the 100 and removed any one that we both didn't feel strongly about. So what you're seeing on the screen is like a consensus of like our two aesthetic preferences combined, which is a really nice thing to have in a shared house. But yeah, if there's any Roku developers listening, I have some requests that I'd like to make. These are my pie in the sky kind of dreams here. I think you should be allowed to choose the crops for yourself. It'd be really nice to choose what details in the picture you would like to emphasize. If not, even having letterboxing. I like that it fills the screen edge to edge, but I think for people who want it, you should be allowed to put in some black bars, some letterboxing to get the full image in, even if it's like less clean looking. Obviously, I'd like for them to have the cap a little higher. 300 would be, I think, a nice mix of like you really need to curate it and it's not like this ridiculous library on your screen, but also you're not like missing out on pieces that you really love. I know that I probably love paintings and drawings more than the typical user, but there's no reason to make it so small. But I really do recommend this feature for people who are interested in art at all. It's a really nice way to beautify your house. Obviously, we're not going to be able to like have a Monet or a Caravaggio like in our own house, but these were originally made for like patrons to hang in their houses. So they're really intended for a domestic context more than they're intended for a museum context. And by having this feature just on your TV, it's a great way of democratizing access to a beautiful home, which I think is so important. I mean, we have prints in our house, and it's nice to have them fixed on the wall there forever. But it's also nice to be able to switch out for the seasons. You can really like do programming. Imagine like it's the summer, you switch it out for a lot of like nice, like kind of hot landscape pieces, like beach scenes, bursting like nature scenes. And then in the winter, they have a really strong collection of like nice like winter landscapes, like Bruegel, like that kind of thing, really matching. You could be very scrupulous and change it all the time, rotate out like based on mood. Like, I don't know, it's a really dynamic and exciting kind of tool for decoration.
But you can tell that like it took them maybe an afternoon to work on this. No, that's such a lie. You can tell that it was something that they made in like just a couple weeks as like a nice little thing to sprinkle in because nobody else talks about it. But I think everybody who has a Roku should work on this just as a little task for the weekend. Have some fun picking out pictures that you like discovering some new artists through this feature because like it is a very random catalog, but it's also a very good catalog. There's a lot of really beautiful and like less talked about pieces here. They're not just like picking the most obvious and like inoffensive pieces of art. There's like a lot of nudity. There's like some violent, historic conflict scenes that like I wouldn't want in my house, but if somebody really feels strongly about it, it's cool that they have it there. It's not just like the most sanitized, like impressionist bathroom art. So I think it's worth checking out for your own. I'd love to see comments of people talking about how they use it in their house. And I'm obviously not sponsored by Roku. I have like 10 subscribers. Hopefully I had some interesting images cycle through just as I was talking right now. But that's all I got for today. Nice short quick one. Chime off in the comments. Hope you're enjoying my content. Love you guys. But yeah, peace. I'm gonna turn the AC on because I bet I've just been getting shinier as the video progressed.